So, thank you for joining us for Christ and Crafting. Here I have one of my very special friends, Kathy. Kathy, why don't you introduce yourself and your business?
Hi. Okay. I'm Kathy Cook. I am owner of TheVintage Dames, and I'm located in Harrisburg, Lemoyne area of Pennsylvania. I sell antiques and paint and papers and everything.
Everything. We do all the things, don't we?
Yes, we do. All of it.
Yeah.
Teach
So,
classes,
and what?
and meet
Yes.
great friends like Leesa.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So if you're ever in the area, ask her about her workshops because she does really great classes and you'll be able to learn how to use these products firsthand, coached step by step. So if you don't know me, I'm Leesa with Leesa Boone Designs. I'm in Madisonville, Kentucky. I pretty much do all the same things that Kathy does. And so we're going to teach you a tutorial today incorporating Christ with our crafting. So let's go. What do you got?
What do I got? Like, I really have a mess right here. But what I'm going to do is I'm putting together a couple projects for a kit. And what I'm going to do is I'm using the Iron Orchids last year's WoodLand transfer that is hard to find. Nobody can locate. And what I'll do is I'll incorporate some of that in the kit. So that's kind of what I'm doing tonight. I'm focusing on this chipboard that says love. And then I have like a couple other pieces that are going to go along with it. I have a one of these wood hang tags, a little treasure box. Oh, I'm not going to work on everything tonight, obviously. An ornament and then some canvas. So that'll all be part of the kit. And
people can purchase your kit, Kathy, online?
Yes, on my website. We'll have a link to that. I don't have it up yet, but I should here in the next 2 days. Anyway, so I have these hang tags, and what I'm going to do with that, and I want to show you tonight, is I've done this where you take transfer gel. We're going to be using Fusion's transfer gel, which will be part of the kit. And we're going to transfer the scripture onto this tag. And so the most important thing is you print it out reverse, because I'm going to try this, guys. I've not done this yet, but I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work. So what I need to do is that'll be the first thing we do. I already have a tag where I've done some decoupage on, and we're going to put the type on there, and then it's got to be good and dry before we take it off, and then we take it off with water. So that's what I'm going to start with. And then I'm just going to decoupage on this love chipboard. I already painted it and got it started. I have some paper from Royce that I'm going to put on there. And then I got a bunch of the transfers cut out to play around with, just putting on there. Okay.
Awesome.
That's what I'm doing. Leesa, what are you going to do?
Okay. Well, I'm going to put this down. And I knew that you were doing your kit and you had some different items. So I didn't get to go to my Dollar General or anything because the last time I went, they didn't have a lot of stuff. But I had this on hand, and I have these little signs that say grateful and thankful. So I'm going to decoupage that. I did find this. It's just like a chalkboard, one of those that you have rope and you can make a sign out of and put it in the middle of a wreath. And so I cut out Joy to the World, and I'm also going to use the WoodLand transfer to embellish this. And then I grabbed a small canvas, because I know you had a small canvas. I painted it white, and I have Isaiah 9:6 that I'm going to put on here along with a piece of decoupage paper. And I am going to decoupage this after I paint it, because I prepped these two, but I need to prep this. So let's go.
All right. So first thing I'm going to do is put my transfer gel on.
Yeah, I want to try that transfer gel because I saw you do that the other day, and it looked really, really good. I've tried it with liquid patina, but it looks like it might be a little bit easier with the Fusion gel.
Well, I'll tell you why I think I love the Fusion gel. It's not a water base. So especially if you're doing a transfer where you print something out on a laser printer, or I think it will work with just about posters and stuff like that. when you print it out and you have to come back with water and erase the paper pulp, you wipe it back. With liquid patina, it's a water base. And so what happens with that, you lose, you often can lose a lot of the ink and the type because it's water based. And as soon as you start wetting it with a wet rag to get rid of the paper, that's what happens.
Okay.
So now I haven't done anything with words. This is the first time I'm doing something with words. There's not near as much ink on here, and there will be a lot more paper to erase. Well, it'll be interesting. But like I said, it has to be good and dry.
I've seen it done. I know it's going to work. I've done it a lot. I've done the transfer with pictures and putting it on wood. Like I'll take a family picture or a portrait or of some kind, and I've done it that way, and it's super fun, especially if you want it an age look and it distresses a little bit. It's super fun. Now let me say that I painted this little turkey. Now this is very, very thin. You'll want to paint both sides so it doesn't warp. But I'm going to do one side here. And I'm just using vintage linen as my white. And on my canvas, I'm going to start prepping this one to go. I put this little wood block on here so that I can have something firm to help me.
Anytime you're working with the canvas, if it's like hollow in the back, it's nice to do that, a book or something, right?
Yeah. I just happen to have this wood sign. Well, it's not really wood. I'm just going to let that dry. And what I like to do is whenever I decoupage with my napkins, I keep the second and the third ply, and then I will tape it to copy paper and put it through my toner and print whatever I want on my tissue paper. And that's what I did here. And I'm just going to cut this because what I do is I glue it and I attach it to the back of the paper so that it'll go through easily. And then I can decoupage it because whenever you use napkins like this, I love it. It just melts right in.
Question for you, Leesa. So you glue it to the paper?
I have a double-sided stick tape, like one of those little wheels, and I just tape it along my edges, and then on the back, I fold it out. Sometimes I cut it and I just do a little section, but most of the time the napkins are large, and I'm able to just wrap it around my paper and tape it on the back, and then I just feed it through my copier.
I've seen that done, but I've never been brave enough to try it. Well, I love that idea because you're right. The tissue's just going to melt the words down onto the piece. Yeah, what a fun way to add type to anything you want.
Well, yeah, exactly. You can add type, but you can also go on graphicsfairy.com.
Yes.
And you're basically creating your own decoupage paper with whatever print that you want. So, think about if the sky's the limit, as far as that goes, because you can do anything.
Speaking of doing anything and creating your own decoupage paper, I haven't done this yet, but I think one of the things I've seen done is using either the same tissue paper or tissue paper that you use for wrapping gifts that you can pick up like at the dollar store.
Yep.
And then stamping on it with the IOD stamps as well.
Yes. That's actually what I had toyed with. I wanted to do, but I did a project the other day, and I had all of this typed out already because what I did was I maximized my tissue and I went ahead and put a whole bunch of sayings on them so that I could have a few projects ready to go.
Wow, that's really smart. Yeah.
Yeah, because usually I just do the one. And then I thought, wait, I've got all of this extra room. I might as well do a whole bunch. So that's how I had this Joy to the World. And what's interesting about some of the napkins is that I don't know if you can see this, but there's texture on this napkin. And it's because this is the one that was right next to the top layer. And it actually imprinted. So it has a little bit of muted design on it.
Yes.
And I like that. to add more texture and dimension to my piece. So
I love that idea. I think that's a really great tip to share and to give, because I use them. I never throw them out, but I always just use them for wiping your hands while you're working, that kind of thing.
I've done that too. And then I started saving them and I thought, wait a minute, I can do this. So I'm just going to add, oops, I almost did it backward, upside down. I have this scrap piece of decoupage paper and I'm just going to apply it so that it's coming down here. And I'm just using my saran wrap to lay it flat so that I don't have any wrinkles.
So, so I decoupaged the tissue paper and I had to tear it to finish the E.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm fine with the pattern because I'm going to be using the transfer on it. I have some wrinkles in here, but I'm good with that. The thing is I definitely need to wait till it's dry so that I can get the edges off.
Yes,
and
that's how I do it too.
Yeah, I'm actually cutting some of this edge. I'm using a water and a paintbrush, and just that way you can actually cut your decoupage paper. It'll tear. It'll give you a nice, instead of a linear edge, a nice organic edge.
Yeah, and I call it raggedy.
Raggedy, yep, organic raggedy.
Torn,
I would have gotten my the lighter for the grill and tried it. I saw one of the girls burned it off. I thought that would be really fun, but I think it has to be good and dry.
Oh yeah, I know. I want to try that because
I do too.
Like on this, I've tried decoupaging text before, and it is almost a nightmare to get all of the paper off. And I definitely want to try with that lighter. And
I know.
I'm going to do it soon. I am going to do it soon because I want to try it, but I don't want to do it on a live.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I almost ran up and got mine and almost braved up to it, and then I chickened out.
I know. Yep. I did the same exact thing. But here's this one little canvas. I'm going to let this dry. The liquid patina, that's what I used for my decoupage medium. It dries super fast, and I'm just going to wait for it to dry, and then I'm going to also apply some scraps or little pieces from the WoodLand transfer. And then I'm going to go ahead and swap while we're doing this. And this is great because I'm getting a few projects done all at the same time.
Yes. And you're right. And I'm getting all my little samples done for the kit. So
yeah,
this little treasure box, I wanted to add some color to it before I might even come back. I still think I'm going to dry brush some white paint on it for the transfer.
Oh, yeah.
But I wanted to be a little stained. And of course I forgot. I don't have any of my stain home. So what I did though, is and this would work with any brown paint. So I took I have American Paint here, and it's their espresso, which kind of is a nice stain, gives me a nice color. So I did the top, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and do the side. And what the thing is having a wet towel or paper towels handy to wipe it off. Yeah. So I want to wipe it off while it's still wet. So I'm going to do that while my love is drying. Oops. And my tag is drying, because that does have to be dry. If I had anyone around to help me, I would have them up drying it, but they have a meeting to go to. Those other people that live in the other person, right?
The other person?
Yeah, there's no other people.
Yeah.
Well, if you count my pups, they're
I was going to say, wait, you have canines.
Yes, 2 of them. 2.
They count. Well, I have 4, and they're starting to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
all right. So I have my Joy to the World, and you have to be careful with tissue paper because it was wet and I actually ripped it right here, but you can see that I was able to put it right back together. And I don't mind the wrinkles either. I embrace it if it gets wrinkly, but most of the time I don't get wrinkles. The one thing I feel like you have to avoid is air pockets, the bubbles. But if you get that, you just prick it, and then you can put some medium in there, and then when it dries, it'll suck it back down. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply my decoupage medium over the whole thing right now on this one, because it's drying pretty quick, and I want it to get it ready to be able to put a transfer on it.
Yes. And so like I probably for the transfer part, and it's really important with the transfers that it is good and dry. Everything has to be really dry or they will just peel up the paint and not stick.
Yes.
So I probably will have to hit the hair dryer to get the stuff dry for that.
I have my heat gun here, and I bought a new heat gun, and I have to say that I am loving it because it is not as loud as my old one, and it dries a lot faster. And I got it at Harbor Freight, so I don't know if you have a Harbor Freight by you, but
I do.
this is the brand Bauer. It's this is a good one. I really like it a lot. And it, I mean, you'll see, because I'm gonna hit it. I'll have to hit it in order to do this, you know. But it does not make as much noise as my last one, which I got the cheapest one. I'm not even gonna say the first time because it was like the first 2 times because this is my 3rd heat gun. Because don't, you know, the cheap ones, they just don't last. And so I got this one, which wasn't terribly expensive, but I was so glad that I went up on it. Okay, so I'm going to have to heat this. You'll hear it now. I'm going to heat this so I can dry this so I can start decoupaging it. This is what I like about this. Kathy, I don't know if you can see. I've got a ring here, and it has different levels, and then it has different levels here.
So you can adjust the heat, how much air comes out and how hot it gets.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And it dries super fast. Of course, you know, DIY paint dries pretty quick anyway.
Right.
But then when I hit it, I can actually watch it dry. And it's not loud and, you know, obnoxious.
And so it's good you brought that up because tonight I'm using, for what I've done, it wouldn't have mattered on the love sign. I am using Fusion tonight because I carry Fusion and I'm using the medium.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I'm using the Fusion is because I like the fact that I don't have to seal it before I put my transfers on.
Yeah, I like that. I told you, you know, we went thrifting for my birthday a couple weeks ago, and I broke down and I bought some Fusion paint at this Peddler's Mall. They actually were carrying Dixie Belle. They carried another brand. I can't think of Rethump Junk maybe.
Okay.
And then Fusion. And I have wanted to try it. And the reason I chose Fusion, because I've used Dixie Belle before, but I'd wanted to try their metallic. But I saw the Fusion and I thought, oh, they have metallic and they have like a red. So I bought 3 different ones. And I'm excited to try it. I don't know on what yet. But I'm going to have to be careful, though, because I'm used to DIY paint. And I'm used to not having to care if my brush is cleaned right away.
I will tell you, there are definitely some learning curves with Fusion because like us DIY paint girls are spoiled. And that it's your brushes. You don't want to leave your brushes out is one. It does say on the cans, not intended for use by children.
Okay.
So it's a 100% acrylic polymer paint.
Okay.
If I were spraying it, I would definitely be wearing a mask. A respirator, not just a paper mask.
I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
We're definitely spoiled.
We are. I agree. And I love our DIY paints and all natural product that it is. It's my first love. It'll be my all love. I will always love it. But I am enjoying playing with the Fusion. I haven't messed with the metallics yet. It's sold, but I haven't used it myself yet because I have metallic with American paint.
Okay.
And so like I have all those colors and so I just haven't opened any yet. But I think you'll love it. There are advantages to it. Just like, so one reason I'm using Fusion tonight, because I'm going to put together a kit with these products in it and the WoodLand transfer. But the one reason I'm using Fusion is because I can the kit's going to include one of the little samples. So they have these little samples that are 1.25 ounces, and each kit's going to include one of those. along with, I will include one of the decoupage transfer gels, which you'll get a lot of that in the kit. And then a sealer, because I don't like to use the transfer gel as my sealer. I like to use another sealer. So either one of Fusion sealers or American Paint or DIYs, whichever one I happen to have open. So, yeah. So like, yeah, you'll like it. When the thing about the paint, it, like I said, it's already got a sealer built in. So it does make it nice for doing transfers, especially in class.
Yes, I bet it does. It makes it so much easier.
It saves time. Yep. All right. I'm going to, I want to, this is not dry yet, and I do need it to be dry. I'm going to hit it with the dryer, so I'm going to walk away. You keep everybody happy and entertained for a minute. I'll try not to be too loud.
Okay. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm taking all of these scraps and I'm going to put it on my piece here. And I had it where it was going to work out perfectly, but somehow I rearranged it and I got a little bit lost as to how I wanted to have it done. There's really no wrong or right way. And as you can see, there's so many colors and it varies. But I'm going to bring it together in a really cool way by doing a wash. And I've never done it on something like this, but I figured I would try it. If it doesn't work, we have a saying, it's just paint. It's okay, it's just paint. I just wanted to get this on here. And definitely, it's not going to bother me if I get wrinkles on something like this. I keep moving myself.
So was that excruciatingly loud?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all.
All right, so I'm gonna use a sanding block and cut and basically use the sanding block to cut the edges of the tissue paper where I want to get it off. Some of it I'm just going to use my sealer to glue it down on back, and I'm going to be using American Paint's hard coat for my sealer. I definitely mix my products up. It's kind of nice carrying all these different brands because like you can use whatever you have open.
Yeah,
and they all kind of work together.
That's what I like. I also carry Sweet Pickens milk paint, and I chose that because it does work really well with DIY paint, and it's non-toxic. It's and I like that it's food safe. And this way, if I do like a platter, a food platter, I can use that, and I can seal it with hemp oil. But I can also.
I did not know that was food safe.
Yeah, it's food safe. And so, like, if you wanted to do a baby crib, I mean, DIY paint does not have any toxins either, but.
Well, right. So here's the difference. I mean, so like, yeah, like we can't promote DIY that way, but that's how I don't worry about it. I let my grandkids use it, prefer that for them. Yeah. But that would mean that for Sweet Pickens to say they're food safe and go that route, then they literally spent the money to have it tested, which is huge, very expensive.
Yeah, it's FDA approved for food safe.
Wow. So that's pretty cool. I did not know that.
Milk paint is all natural, and it's one of the original forms of paint. And there's a different type of milk paint that can be found in even hieroglyphics. So it's really interesting how milk paint is made. But okay, this looks like a hot mess. It looks like a hot mess. But I'm going to go ahead and dry this real quick.
I can't, because I have the camera down, I can't really see what you're doing, so I can't wait to watch the replay so I can see everything, right?
Exactly. So, tell me about the scripture that you chose for your.
Okay, so like I went with 2 Timothy 1:7. primarily, more than anything, not a holiday scripture per se, but for the times that we're in, it really has been one that means a lot to me right now because of everything that's just going on in the world. So yeah, it's, you know, just in case you don't know, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. And, you know, that's just been something I've leaned on a lot.
Yeah.
You know, in the last, what, year and a half?
Yeah.
We've been
almost
yeah.
2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to, because, you know, we can't live if we have, you know, with Jesus in our heart, we don't have fear. There's no fear.
Right.
There's not to say that the stress goes away, but there's a peace that is just that gets you through. You don't live in fear. You just know that
it's a peace that passes all understanding, because perfect love casts out all fear, and God is love. And it's not love like what we think love is as an emotion, but he is love. You know, love is described in 1 Corinthians 13. And if you are in his perfect love, within his perfect peace, then fear is not your portion, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah, exactly. You know, so that's what I, you know, and then I wasn't sure. I was going to go look for something more holiday seasonal. And then I thought, wait, you got this love board. This is perfect. Go with it.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? It doesn't have to be a Christmas scripture to me, because, Christmas today is about celebrating the birth of Jesus. And Jesus is in the Bible from the beginning to the end. And so any scripture that we use to glorify him and honor him is a good scripture.
Exactly.
We can't go wrong. You know? Can't
Nope.
go wrong. So this is still a little bit wet. But you know what my little hack for today is? Because I didn't want to use the blow the house down method. I'm going to use an emery board.
Oh, that's a brilliant idea. That would have been smart. That's actually smart for these little letters.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This is a brand new one that I got. I have super, super hard nails. And I have to have a super duper emery board, because I don't usually like to cut my nails, because cutting your nails actually breaks your nail bed down. And so I always file mine, and I will break files because my nails are so strong. That's why I'm always careful with that.
That's a blessing, you know.
Oh yeah, I know. I've always had long nails. They're relatively short now, but I usually have really long nails naturally. But that's why I like the saran wrap method whenever I'm decoupaging. And I try not to put my fingers down. Sometimes I do, and I'll tear the paper even through the saran wrap. I have to try to lay my fingertips down and rub only with the saran wrap. Otherwise, I will tear it. Like, that's how I whenever I get a DIY paint, you know how we have that tape? I just tear it with my nail usually.
Oh, yeah, lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to hit this a little bit more.
I don't have great nails. They're okay. They're better. I drink a lot of milk, so they do grow better than they, used to. But I've never been blessed with great nails.
Oh,
It
runs in the family.
Huh? Oh, that's cool. My husband, he's got strong, great nails and long hair. His hair grows like weed. My hair's thins out. I really, this paper. So I picked this paper for a texture for just the background for this board. And I like it. I like it a lot. I think it looks kind of good on there just by itself. So I think adding any of the transfers to it's just going to make it just that much better.
Yeah.
So some of my paper's lifting up. So I used hard coat to seal it. It's American Paint's hard coat, but again, just like liquid patina, it's water based. And I do notice that when I use any water base, when you do decoupage, if you use a water based sealer, it will wrinkle, lift a little, but it should dry back down pretty good without any issues. I shouldn't be able to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's another piece that needs to dry. Drying, if I were really organized, I'd have several of these ready to go and do all these steps.
Yeah.
But yeah, that didn't happen today. Yeah, maybe the next time, Leesa. That's what we'll do next time.
Maybe. Let's not promise things that we can't keep up with.
All right.
Because I don't know
I have
that. I'm
I have
not
my
that
little
good.
box, and it is the chalk paint underneath with the fusion on top. And this may actually, now that I think about it, fusion needs, it might peel. We'll see. What should stick okay. So, all right, I'm just going to put a transfer on here. I'm going to find one I like. Nothing, I'm no thought in this. So, you know, when you're playing around, you just go.
Yes,
exactly. Just decorating, right?
Yeah, I think that it's better to go off instinct like this and just what feels right. Because sometimes you can get stuck just by overthinking, you know, how should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do that? And then you get stuck and you don't finish the project. Exactly.
And that happens too often. I struggle with getting started.
Yeah.
I do. I love, I'm grateful, Leesa, that you wanted to do this, because for me, I try to do lives on my own page. I try to do things and I put it off. But when someone else, I have a really great servant heart, if that's what it is. Yeah. I will do for other people before I will do for myself.
Yeah, I understand.
So I do love that you challenged, that this was a challenge. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, you know what? I love the idea of collaborating together. I mean, honestly, that in itself is biblical. Like, we're supposed to sharpen one another and help one another. And, relationships should be mutually beneficial. And not that we're out to get something for nothing, but it's just iron sharpens iron, and we help one another out by promoting each other, supporting each other. And what better way to do that, with other than Christmas, because it is the season of giving, and people are more apt to give and not be so selfish and help one another. And people are more apt to listen and hear about the gospel too. And let's spread joy. Let's spread, like you said, about how we can live without fear, and how we can love one another even if we differ in different thoughts or different practices, or where we live. You live in Pennsylvania, I'm in Kentucky, but we can all come together.
Yeah, and this gives us an opportunity to even reach more people. So exactly. I put the transfer on. Mm-hmm. I use the burnishing stick that comes with the transfers, and everybody will get some sort of a burnishing stick with their kit. And after I get it on, I'm going to use the backing sheet that it was on, and I'm just going to rub it down a little. Mm-hmm. You want to be careful not to get the edge at all. And then I'm going to come back with my fingers, avoiding your nails and the real fat part of your finger, and just rub it down really good. Yeah. When you're using the IOD transfers, you want to seal them. And so once I get all these on, I will come back and seal them with the sealer, probably the hard coat that I was using. Okay. I kind of want something red on here, but I don't know if I want to cut just one of the, I don't know. They have
some really pretty, that one, is that the one that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, it has the little cherries on it.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. They're kind of big.
Yeah.
Let me see what else I cut out. I didn't cut this is it, maybe.
So in order to unify all of my paper, I went ahead and I brushed on my vintage linen. I watered it down a little bit, and then I take a baby wipe and I just pull up some of the paint, and you can still see the paper through the paint. And so I'm going to hit it with my heat gun, and that will really tell me if I need to take any more off. The great thing about DIY paint is that because it doesn't have a sealer, I can distress it back even after it's dry.
I know. And so while you're saying that, keep in mind, if fusion paint, once it dries, you're not moving it.
Yes. Yeah, that's what's so great about being able to put transfers right on top.
Yes.
Each paint has their pros and cons. It really depends on what you're after and the look you're going for and how you like to paint. I think that makes a big difference, don't you?
You know, there are people who would never, ever, ever want to use DIY paint because they don't want to deal with, you know, the natural stuff and all that.
Yeah.
And then there are people who will never, ever touch a acrylic based paint like Fusion because they're constantly playing with it.
Yeah.
You know, DIY, you have the ability to blend, to come back once, like you said, once it's dry, you can distress it back and it has a more natural look.
Yeah.
Yes. Where with
I'm not gonna lie, it's hard I'm a DIY girl, and it's hard for me because I've been so spoiled, and I tried Dixie Belle and DIY before I became a retailer, and I ruined a really expensive brush using Dixie Belle because I used it just like I would my DIY paint. And, you know, that's when I learned you have to be careful. You have to actually not be lazy, wash the brush.
Yeah.
Because, you know, but you have to know the paint. Milk paint is harder to come up than DIY paint, even though it's all natural.
Right. Because once it dries, it has a hardness to it as well, right?
Yeah, it does. And you can create some texture, but it pretty much levels out. Even though it doesn't have anything in it, but there's something about the products that are in it that it does level out, and you can get a super buttery soft finish, especially if you sand it down just a little bit, even softer than DIY paint, because you know DIY paint you'll get a soft finish if you sand it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But
so
I can actually put a transfer over milk paint without sealing it. Fun fact.
Before, and I have literally put transfers right on top of DIY paint without any issues. But you have to rub sometimes you have to rub hard. And so the rule of thumb is, and I tell everybody, you just want to seal it. It just makes it easier.
It does. It does. All right. Pieces I did recently, I forgot to seal it, and then I stopped because I was doing a video, and I'm like, you really need to seal it because sometimes it's harder, and I don't want someone to not seal it and kind of get stuck.
Right. And it is harder sometimes. All right. I think my tag is dry enough. We're going to start we're going to see what happens here by getting rid of the paper pulp.
Okay. So and I like that you can do that all in one day because usually when you do image transfers, you have to wait overnight.
Well, and I'm not 100% sure because I've not done one well, that's not true. As long as it's dry. I did play around with one on a live, but I didn't finish it. And shortly after I was done with the live, I played around with trying to take it off, and it worked. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then I finished it on the next live. I just wanted to trim these edges off that I left hang over on this. All right, let's see what happens. So I have just a plain old wet rag, and I'm just basically wetting the paper pulp. Now I did use their Fusion's decoupage gel to seal the decoupage that I put on here because I definitely didn't want to wipe through with a water-based sealer and erase my decoupage paper.
Yeah.
Well, this is working pretty cool, Leesa.
Oh, I'm going to have to try it. I'm going to have to try the Fusion Transfer Gel.
Although my "the" is coming off, so I guess I shouldn't talk too soon. And you know what else I think I would do is trim the paper closer to the type.
Yeah.
I have all this extra paper here that I didn't need. So that would be something to do. But the is coming off. But everything else, I mean.
But you know what? That still can work because it'll look like an old sign.
Yes. I think if it dried longer, I would be okay.
Yeah.
So I would tell So if you're doing this, and what I would do is tell you that I would let your type dry overnight before you took off the paper pulp. But I really, again, I should have been prepared. Then I could have showed you all this. And once you start wiping it off, when you let it dry a little, you'll see more cloudiness. So you'll know where the paper pulp is still at.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Here's my little turkey.
He's so cute.
Of course, I hopefully didn't totally ruin my nail file. All right. So I'm going to put this one to the side, and I'm going to look at this little one. And I just have a sanding sponge, and this is still wet. Let me hit this with the heat gun.
So I'm just using my finger now instead of the wet rag because the paper's still wet, and just rubbing away more of the paper pulp.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead. This is damp, but I'm gonna try to hit this. It's hard since this is bending. Usually you just want to go away, but I'm at a weird angle.
All right, I'm going to quit rubbing my paper pulp off because I just keep taking more of the words off. But I think if we let it dry longer, let it dry overnight, that I think that would work really good.
Or at least a few hours, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
All right. Let's see.
So here's where this one's at.
And look at that. That's beautiful.
And so I think I'm going to pick out a few pieces from the WoodLand transfer. And she's got this kit. So she's got these. You're going to want to go on Kathy's website. I only have this one. And this was actually mine from last year. I did not do any Christmas signs or any Christmas home decor last year. And so I just opened it up for the first time this year.
And I have them. I have a couple that they didn't sell before the holidays were over, and I pulled them off my website so I would have them for classes this year, and then I'm going to do this kit. I actually have 3 classes right now scheduled where they can do a small piece and pick from the WoodLand transfer. So for my local people. So that's why I still have some, Leesa. Or I wouldn't.
Yeah.
They just didn't sell for me. All right. I want to hit this with the dryer real quick.
Okay.
So, and I'm definitely going to be hitting Hobby or Harbor Freight and get that gun you have.
Get the heat gun. Awesome. Yeah, I'll send you a picture.
That would be great. Should be good enough.
Okay. Just trying to decide. It's hard to decide.
I know.
They're also beautiful.
They are. And I know with each kit, depending how many kits I sell, there are some. So are you showing them everything?
No, I have it right here, and they probably have seen a few of the things because I've paged through. Right. But not in total because since
So you would get several pieces of the greenery, but I also in each kit, and since I have a few, there is like a cardinal, and I was counting it out, right and there is a blue jay. Yes, beautiful. And a small deer, a squirrel, and I thought, well, I think I counted, and then the deer. There's like 4 or 5 animals, and then the trees. I would maybe give a hunk of tree, to somebody. So you will get enough in the kit that you can do more than one project. Then you'll have the little ones that I'm sending that you can decorate, like the little ornament. And I'm also going to include in the kit some decoupage paper and stuff that you can decoupage with. So, you know, it will be fun because you'll have some extra stuff that you can work with.
And I think it's interesting to do like a surprise kind of box where you get a little bit of different things, because I think that will make your imagination, you know, happy to do. Yeah, what can I do? How can I do this? And you can make the transfers last, you know.
Right.
You could just use one little one and then move on. You don't have to use the whole thing.
Right. Which is what I'm doing for the stuff I'm working on. Even with these projects, I'm just cutting things apart and working, you know, just using pieces and parts.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And you know, I think I would love to do a couple, like do those kind of kits now and then. I would be fun because I have so much stuff.
Yeah, you do. You do.
A little craft store.
You do. I want to come and play in your craft store. Of course, I did not bring a little thing. So guess what I'm going to use? I'm going to use my nail. I've done that many times before. And you just have to do what you got to do. And hopefully this is dried enough.
I know. I'm not sure. I'm hoping too that mine's dry enough.
It's pulling up a little bit. So we'll see if I can salvage this. It's damp, so that's the one thing that transfers do not like, the dampness. Nope. And this did pull up, but I think I can get this back down and make it work.
That's a good opportunity to tell them what you would do in a case like that.
Yeah.
Like, have you glued it? Have you used glue and glue things back down when they come up?
Yes. I learned that from Leesa from Sweet and Sassy Treasures. That's the only time I use Mod Podge, because I do not like Mod Podge.
Oh, I don't. You know, I never thought to use the Mod Podge as the gluing agent. I've just used I use Eileen's Fast Grab glues in class, and what happens is, another way that happens is if the paint is too thick. Yeah. And it can't dry. And that happens a lot in class because I get a lot of students who seem to think they need to put a lot of paint on. Yes. Because, where with DIY paint, it doesn't work that way. And so they've had it on too thick, and then they peel their transfer up and it comes up. Everything comes up. And I've been able to salvage sometimes, not all the time, the transfer by gluing it down.
I'm definitely messing mine up, so I'm going to just wait and let this. It is too damp, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put. See, I have this over my napkin because it's kind of like covering it, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this side, and I'm probably going to add some acorns. Is what I'm going to do with this.
That's going to be pretty. Okay, so my transfer. I have more transfer here and here in the gap of the V. And if you leave it like that,
so pretty.
I know, but I'll have to cut that and bend and stick that down, because if you don't do that and you leave it like this, it's just going to possibly get pulled off. Yeah. So I'm just going to use a X-Acto knife to do that. Yeah. And I think I might add another piece of transfer on the other side over at the L. Yes. What do you think, Leesa?
Yeah. I think so.
So I'm just going to find where the V comes together, and I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife and cut there, and then I'm just going to cut here and cut here, and then this one I don't have to cut. So where I did cut, I have this really cool little wooden pointy stick, so I'm just going to use that to get down in that corner, and I'm just going to take that transfer, and it's literally going to go inside the V. Yep. I don't know if you guys can see that.
That looks perfect. I love it.
I picked these boards up. I love these boards. Signs are, I think I picked them up last year at the dollar store. And, you know, he's cut off up there because I cut his little end off. He looks a little funny. Anyway, they're really nice, and you can find them at Hobby Lobby and Michael's, and they're in different sayings as
for every
well.
season. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Or maybe it's just your initial, for your front door to put on the
Right.
wreath. Yeah.
That would be really cool, and I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I like that. That looks really good. What about if you did it up and down?
Like that?
Yeah.
And just have it coming down the L.
Yeah.
I
Does
like
that look good?
I think that. Yep, I think so. This paper is working really good. The color, the green in it, and it has like that. That's that Royce that's on one of the blocks, the Christmas blocks.
Okay. Yeah.
I like it. It looks really nice with this transfer.
Yeah. It looks super, super nice. I'm going to put this down again. I'm going to see if I can dry this a little bit more. It's hard to use the dryer because I want to make sure that you can be heard because this is still damp.
Go ahead, because I had to use mine.
Okay.
So I'm just burnishing this down here. If you have trouble getting your transfers to release, if you can get like a little bit of a wave or a bubble going, that really helps to release a transfer. It's not how hard you rub, guys.
No,
it really is just trying to, and you probably can't see that. I probably should have you a little closer, but you can. I got a little bit of an air going, and now the transfer is just popping.
You just have to make sure that you have it down for sure, because I've done it where I'm rushing and I didn't make sure that it was down, and then it skips.
Yes,
If that happens,
well,
all I do is put a butterfly.
And not only that, if you're rubbing it, if you get too much air, it'll skip.
Yes.
Yes. If you're riding a tsunami wave, it's going to skip. What you need is just one of those little waves that come in at the bay.
Yes.
Not a big wave you're going to ride the surf on.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not trying to do no tsunami now.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know if it needs something else, but I'm really loving that.
I love it.
Now these chipboards could be a shelf sitter. They'll sit on a shelf,
exactly.
Or they have little hangers on the back. I took the burlap they used to hang it off to paint it, and but you easily could put it back on. Now again, once you do your transfers on everything except glass, you want to seal them.
Yes.
And the only reason we don't seal them on glass is because they would get really cloudy.
Yep.
I don't know. Do you think it needs something else?
No, I like it.
Just the way it is.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. I like it.
I think that's so. Oops. My little box needs us. Are we finishing up here? What do you want to do there, Leesa? Put the sealer on.
Yeah. What we'll do is you'll put your sealer. Let me put this up. And what we'll do is whenever you have yours done, send me the picture, and I'll put this at the end of the video, and then this way you can see it. So look at my little turkey.
My little tiny box.
I like that box. I like
my love sign. Yay!
Looks so good. So good.
And
your tag.
My tag.
It looks so good.
I know. I actually want to try to do it. I printed out a bunch of them accidentally because I kept trying to get them the other way. And once I mirrored them, they wouldn't go back the other way. So maybe I'll make a couple of these tags up because I have a lot of them.
I mean, that's a great, for a Christmas box, and also for a Christmas ornament.
Yeah.
I mean, you can put it on a shelf sitter, propped up with something as well.
Right.
That could be next to the love, prop it up next to the love.
Yep.
So
anyway, this was fun.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. Thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to comment below. Let us know what you thought about the projects today. Let us know if you have any questions, because we'll be happy to answer them. And then don't forget to follow our pages and subscribe to our YouTube channels, because that is such a blessing for us to help our little channels and our Facebook pages grow. So definitely all of the details are in the comments. So feel free to follow Kathy, ask her questions about her project. If you're local to her, go to one of her workshops. You'll want to do that. And then, you know what's a great idea? You could gift a workshop to a loved one, couldn't they?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good idea. And definitely pick up one of her subscription kits because that will be a lot of fun. That's also a great gift for someone.
Yep.
Isn't it? All right.
Thank you. And don't forget about Leesa either.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I hope you guys have an incredibly blessed day.
Thank you. You too.